So last week, we just saw Red and his younglings running off in 500 years in the future.
This week, we find out why he's named Red.
FF1 takes place 500 years in the future after Final Fantasy VII.
And Red is named Red 13 because he's a red mage.
He's the 13th Red Mage.
He's the one who wears the fedora.
I'll come back to that.
The one who wears the fedora.
Welcome to the Everyday FNF. Oh, he just walked off.
I'm very confused.
Travelers!
Did you shit yourself?
Travelers! I've walked
600 miles over the course of 800 days to find you. I've been looking for the ones they call the Every FNF podcast.
Podcast of Light.
It's been 71 years since their last episode. Please, I need some water. I'm parched. Thank you. I've been waiting to hear the words of the prophecy. Do you know them? They go like this. This is the Every FNFF podcast. I'm sorry, Alex. I took your thunder from that one. I'm Curtis.
I'm Carl.
I'm Alex.
We did it.
We did it. We survived a month.
We're back in Pog form.
All right.
Lots has happened.
So what happens after we fight Sephiroth?
So what you do after you fight Sephiroth is you go up to your PlayStation 2, the thin model one, and you hit the eject button and the little thing that may have a Coheed and Cambria sticker on the tray that flips up, and then you pop out that
I assume
disc.
that they all did.
You pop out that disc. You put it in an envelope, a safe one. You keep it safe, and you mail that to GMC Faux Show.
Yeah.
Because you're done with it.
Yeah,
he needs it.
All right, Final Fantasy 1.
Final Fantasy
Y'all.
1.
It didn't come out on CD, so...
Yeah.
No, it came out on cartridge.
The old
How
cart.
quaint.
Yeah, so have either of you played Final Fantasy 1 before?
I have played it very briefly. I think I'm now further in it than I've ever been, just doing the first dungeon part.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm farther in it than I've ever been because the only time I played it was when I was in high school and I was playing through either 8 or 7, and I was like, oh, let me check out the original one. I have the emulator. I have all the ROMs.
Right.
I checked it out and I was like, oh, this is slow as shit. I don't want to play this.
My experience is pretty much the same, where I downloaded all the ROMs. I'm like, Final Fantasy, people like that. I think I should start at the beginning. See what the whole hubbub's about. Like, oh, this sucks.
Well, so I did play it a little bit when I was younger because my older cousin had it, and it was slow as fuck. Again, I was just like, this blows. I don't like this. And I did play it all the way through last year, though, for the first time. And I will say it, in my opinion, I feel like the game is the numbers of it are all kind of geared toward mid-game and late game.
Sure.
So the beginning of the game is just grinding up to level to where the game can be fun.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, because maybe they just didn't have quite the handle on the stat growth or something like that at the time.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit awkward for the first couple areas.
Yeah, I think it's also important to just kind of talk about time and place of when this came out. This was at the time it wasn't Square Enix, it was just Square. And this was they were not doing well.
Continue.
And this is they were pretty much we can make one more game.
So I read about this.
Oh, wait,
I read about this. I went online and I looked up some interviews or whatever. So what I've read is that while they were not doing financially well at the time, there's no indication that this was going to be their final game.
Oh, okay. So that's just a playground, my uncle works at Nintendo story.
But the funnier and true story, apparently, because it's even better than that one, is that the director was like, I just want it to be initialed FF, so I'm making a game called Fighting Fantasy. And then other people were like, No, there's already a set of toys called that. We're gonna get fucked if we call it that. Let's name it some other thing that begins with F. And they came up with Final Fantasy.
Oh damn! I feel like when I do you guys remember like Tech TV or like G4 after it was Tech TV? They had that show. I think it was called like Cinema Tech or something.
Yeah,
where they had like documentary style like little minisodes about like things. I feel like I probably watched an episode about Final Fantasy and that's where they said that, or like I don't know where I got that information, but that's I feel like a lot of people have that information though. Like this was Square's like last game, so they called it Final Fantasy.
Yeah, well, I've heard that information too, and the thing is, like, I'm getting my information today just from like a series of like articles and interviews and stuff.
Sure.
But those could be equally dubious as far as I know. But it did reference the idea that people think it was Final Fantasy because it was going to be their last game. But the rest of the story is true. They hadn't had like a hit or anything like that. I think they had like Ridge Racer before.
Oh, yo, hell yeah. That game's so fucking good. You get to play like Space Invaders or like Galaga when you're waiting for it to boot up on PlayStation. Fuck yeah. I loved Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer!
Editor's note. Ridge Racer was released in 1993 by Namco. Kurz and Carl are thinking of Rad Racer, released by Square in August of 1987.
Watch out for our sister show, every RNRR. The first R stands for radical.
Yeah. So
I think this was Sakaguchi's first RPG, though.
Yeah, I believe so.
Nice.
Like he's been wanting to make one for a while, and they were like, "All right, yeah."
This is the birth of the Gucci Gang,
The Gucci Gang, hell yeah.
of which we're all now a part.
Have we talked about Sakaguchi at all?
Not really.
On the podcast? I feel like we kind of just didn't. We just talked about
I feel like that's a those who fight podcast topic.
I remember because like I heard them talking about it and I was just like, yeah, shit, we should probably also talk about Sakaguchi.
I'll let you lead on that one.
I don't know that much about it.
God damn it.
So listen to the Those Who Fight podcast to learn more about Sakaguchi.
Our podcast is just one big commercial for another podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the creator of Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
The director and yeah.
It's also Nobuo Uematsu's
cousin.
First Final Fantasy with them. And I think his 9th game or something like that he had scored. So he'd already been a relatively prolific composer before this.
Yeah.
And due to the severe limitations of the NES at the time, there are not that many tracks on it. So I'm playing the NES version. Carl, what are you playing?
I am playing the technically the PS1 version, but I am playing it on the PS Vita.
Okay, and Alex, what are you playing?
So it's the Final Fantasy Origins, where it's like a combination like 1 and 2, but you just play them separately.
Yeah, mine's kind of the same package, but it's on Game Boy Advance. It's called Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Right. It's the first of the Souls games.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's followed by Shadow Tower.
Yeah, followed by King's Quest. And then
Field.
Yeah.
King's Field.
King's Field, that's it, right. So the NES, because it was, a little limited, there's not very many songs on it, so I'm kind of curious as we go through and we do this, like, what the differences in, like, the music and various other things are going to be. Because I know that there's, like, no boss music in the NES. There's no final boss music. It's just the same song the whole time. So that'll be interesting to see if they changed it. Yeah,
and I kind of also want to go through and, like, fire up my EverDrive and kind of play along on the NES just to kind of gauge similarities. I kind of
want to play on the GBA too, and that's the thing.
I don't know how much A, time, or B, like, patience I'll have to do that.
If you have a fast forward button, no problem.
Yeah, if I have that's the thing. I don't know if the EverDrive has that kind of
functionality.
Oh,
yeah, good point.
But I mean, I might just also play it on emulator because I went back and watched through the parts that I played this week, like on a playthrough through the NES version.
Yeah.
And like the songs sound very similar. Like the songs that are in my version are like a remaster one. I think it's probably the same one because I think my version might just be the port of the GBA version because I think the sprites look very similar.
What was your if it's for
It was for PS1.
So, but this is for Game Boy Advance. So
so I guess
I am to understand.
Might be the other way around.
Yeah, I am to understand that there's 3 like main versions, and that's the NES, the PSX one, and the GBA, and those are all like different in ways.
Speaking of music, though, I guess not to get too ahead, but using the emulator I'm using lets me mute and unmute certain audio channels,
Oh,
so
nice.
I can kind of break down like how so. There's 2 channels that is literally just left and right speaker. That is like maybe a very crunched version of like the PS1 version, but everything else is like very chippy.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
wow.
It's interesting.
That is very interesting, actually.
It just sounds like an interesting mixture of. If you just mute the two channels, it just sounds like NES music, I think.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's very neat.
I don't know too much about the GBA sound chip.
I know that it
It's
has
very sample heavy on this one, though, I think.
well, so it has sample channels and FM capability, unlike the original Game Boy, but it still has the original Game Boy's two square
okay, so it
waves
still has
noise
the-
and a
Microphone.
sample.
Nice.
Two square waves and a microphone.
It's about that's about the Famicom controller.
Yeah. Yeah, so two things that were good happened in 1987. I was born in July.
Hell yeah.
And in December, Final Fantasy 1 came out in Japan, and I think it had to wait till 1991 before it came out in America.
I believe
Just like me.
that-
Oh, there you go. Two good things happened in 1991.
Oh, I didn't. I was 1990. But
I was like, wait, so you were born in Japan in 1987, but you came to America in 1991?
no, I'm 1990.
Yeah, I'm 1990 as well.
Okay.
I was still a
two
Tia.
good things happened then. Too, then. No, y'all.
Aw.
Ooh.
Ooh woo. So yeah, this game is NES as hell.
Yeah, it's very, very NES, but like I kind of love that about it. I mean, granted,
No, I love
playing-
it about it too.
I'm playing on a version that has a lot of quality of life features included, like a dash button.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's,
Let's talk about targeting.
Yeah, so I want to hear about targeting because I think I have the default set, so you play the way that it worked on the NES.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. I don't know if that's actually the case or not because
Okay.
I've had no problem targeting. So you were going to say that if you are targeting an enemy and you kill it, then you miss.
If you have two characters in the NES port, if you have two characters targeting one enemy, and one character defeats that enemy, and now there's just a blank space there, the next character will waste their turn attacking the blank spot.
Yeah. So that is a feature that you can turn on the Vita. I thought I had that enabled, but that is 100% not the case because I was just
Gotcha.
spamming attack
Gotcha.
over and over and over again and hitting everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is usually my way to do it in RPGs, but I've played RPGs where that's also the case.
yeah, fair. Yeah, it's old. It's fine
Yeah.
though. It's fine though. You
But
know what
I mean, at the same time, it's like just kind of thinking like of its place in time. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
so-
think the RPG genre was,
I was gonna
too
say,
huge back
let's
then. right?
talk about that. So there was in America Dragon Warrior or
Yeah.
Dragon Quest as the series is known now, which I had on the NES and I actually really enjoyed Dragon Warrior, but that's like the main competition to Final Fantasy at the time,
Yeah.
right? That game's huge. People were playing it. It's the NES RPG, right?
That had the artwork by Akira Toriyama. Is
That's
that
correct.
Yeah.
And like,
Chrono Trigger. And
I am
also
not-
Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, and I'm not in any way shitting on Dragon Warrior for this. I just want to like give an idea of what separates Final Fantasy. Right?
Sure.
So Dragon Warrior, the first one anyway.
Dog shit. No.
Yeah, absolute dog shit.
I'm not shitting
No,
on it, but
But the plot lines of them are usually like, here you are, go fight the final boss. Like that's the plot line.
Okay.
And along the way you'll have like, oh, well, I can't get in this door because I'm missing a magic key, and you'll have to go get the magic key. You know
could
what
you
I mean?
imagine if a Final Fantasy game did that?
We'll get there.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, but my point being though that like very linear storytelling. Dragon Warrior 3 had a little bit of a twist on it.
Yeah.
A little bit, but very straightforward. You know what I mean? Like they're very just like you're the hero, they're the bad guy, go fight the bad guy, you're done. You know what I mean? And then you're finished. As we'll find out in the very beginning of Final Fantasy 1, they immediately put a spin on that. Like they put their twist on that of being like, oh, maybe things aren't always what they seem. Maybe there are things outside of the immediate issues. You know what I mean? Like go into a larger world and see what the problems are. So they definitely like, even though in this game there are no named characters, so we'll be making our own party, and so there's no Cloud. And Yuffie,
Yeah,
you know.
it's going to be a lot less story heavy in that sense, where we can't be like, oh, well, this character's motivation is this
Right.
necessarily or something, because it's like
Yeah.
you can make your team whatever you want it to be,
Right.
like even more so than other more contemporary Final Fantasy games, where it's like you choose the class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but even though it's not dialogue heavy and that we don't have like named characters, it's still more plot heavy than what was out at the time.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and that's kind of what like going back and playing it now when I kind of have more of appreciation for that, like I'm kind of just loving it, even though it's very
Yeah.
like grind heavy and everything. We talked a lot about the pros and cons of having to grind in video games.
Yeah.
with, chocobos versus like battles or whatever. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. And
Yeah, no, me too. I have to admit, it's pretty good. I
And
actually like it.
it's kind of cool just thinking back to like 1987 or like when they were developing this, which was probably even earlier than that. And
Yeah.
just kind of being like RPG elements of like Dungeons and Dragons, and just being like, how can we put this in kind of a video game
Yeah.
and like put our spin on it, and going through and getting different equipment and stuff. Like
And-
that's always fun.
And something you just said just now is so fucking true for this.
Yeah.
This game is Dungeons and Dragons for the NES.
Yeah.
That is what Final Fantasy 1 is. Like
Not to be confused with the Dungeons and Dragons game for NES, which I think is also a thing, right?
I mean, almost certainly. But I mean, like, the magic system, the way it's used in this game, we don't use MP. We have certain amounts of casts every day.
Yeah.
You have to go back to the end.
Yeah.
That's a Dungeons and Dragons mechanic. Like, they modeled magic directly after Dungeons and Dragons. They modeled the classes directly after Dungeons and Dragons. All the enemies in the game, especially the names for them in the NES version,
Yeah.
are just what they are in the monster manual for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Like, they even look like the characters from the monster manual in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So, like,
Until the ported version where they kind of had to cover their butts a little
yeah,
bit.
right.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about a lot
Yeah.
when we come up to those changes as well.
Yeah, and they did have, like, at that time, they'd already made a bunch of other Final Fantasies, so they had other names for creatures, they had other ideas they could throw in there.
Yeah.
But this first one, they were very much like, okay, Japanese RPGs haven't incorporated elements from Western role-playing games, and not just computer games, but, like, tabletop games.
Yeah.
So they incorporated a lot of that into Final Fantasy. And they wanted, like, for instance, they wanted you to be able to make your own party the same way you would create your own character and everything in D&D.
Yeah.
So it was very, very inspired by D&D, which is cool. I mean, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So basically, like, it took Japanese RPGs at the time, introduced Western elements, and took Western elements and Western RPGs and introduced Japanese elements.
Yeah.
And kind of made something fantastic.
It really did.
It might not be the last game that they ever make.
It may not be the final one, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Despite what my uncle who works at Nintendo may tell you, this is not their final chance at making a video game.
This is not my Final Fantasy. That didn't really work.
Oh wait, were you trying to do like Talking Heads?
I was trying to do Talking
It
Heads.
worked. I caught it.
All right, so pop in that cartridge, y'all. Let's get playing Final
go.
Fantasy 1.
I'm gonna
Let's
pop in my UMD disc.
yeah.
Actually, no. Fuck, this thing has cartridges. I'm pretty sure.
As
It's like a Switch. It's like a,
Yeah, it's got like a micro SD card.
Remember the Vita, everyone?
Does anyone remember the Vita?
okay, hold on.
I think.
I played the Vita last night because I was like, I want to play just a little bit of the PSX port of Final Fantasy V. Like, just start it up. And the main character of Final Fantasy V is Bartz, but in the PSX, he's Butts. And I was like, God, I cannot wait for that season. It's going to be so good. Just
my
from
son
the
is
get-go.
also named Butts. We're out of Butts license plates.
But that's a different story. That's a different time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so PS Vita. It's all right.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so you turn the game on. Or I turn the game on anyway. And like I said, we're had version differences, so I'm kind of curious how it goes.
Yeah.
Does it just open into a monologue?
No.
It does for mine.
So mine is actually pretty fucking cool. It has like a whole cinematic.
Ooh.
That for like PlayStation 1 era, it looks really good.
Really?
Yeah. Like there's just so it kind of starts up and there's like a cave and you can kind of see the sky a little bit with like some light peering through it, and then there's like a giant crystal that's kind of just like circling around, and then you see like a warrior with really kick-ass armor kind of walk.
The Warrior of Light?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's kind of just walking around in like a craggy kind of like mountainous place. He's got crystal around his neck, and like I said, like this armor is really kick-ass looking.
Yeah.
And then there's a fucking gnarly ass like Demon Souls looking fucking dragon, just like he's squaring up like with this dragon and getting ready to fight him, and like the crystal like
He's completing the asylum.
yeah, it's the asylum
Yeah.
demon. He's just chucking some black fire
Yeah.
bombs at it. Yeah, but it like breathes fire onto him and it like doesn't affect him at all, and he like casts it off, and then kind of like Back to the Future style, there's just like a part like of flames like next to him, and he like points his sword at the dragon. It's
Hell yeah.
real fucking cool. If you guys haven't seen it, I definitely recommend like checking it out. And I like
Willikers.
it's interesting too, especially since we just came from like the Final Fantasy VII season, where I think this must have come out after Final Fantasy VII.
Maybe so.
Because it looks way later in like the life cycle of the PlayStation, and like the graphics are so much better. Like it looks comparable to like
the pre-rendered stuff.
FF9, I would say.
Oh wow, cool.
But like not as like kind of like cartoony, I guess, as FF9 is.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean that, and it's playing a cool song and shit. But,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of has like the title come up. Of
Cool.
Final Fantasy.
Which is probably very similar to what mine looked like.
Yeah.
Mine was probably when you start up. It's very well. First, you get the Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls, and you get to select which game you want to play.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned
Yeah,
that as well.
that's
That's my first.
But yeah, do new game, create your characters, but it does, I think, more close to what the NES would be, which is it does like the monologue,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you want to get into that.
I do want to get
Yes.
into it. Let me crack my voice knuckles.
I think to crack your voice knuckles, you have to yodel.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
You're all ready for this?
Children, gather round. The world is veiled in darkness. The wind stops. The sea is wild.
I love that.
That's just a statement that I would make after being out on a boat.
Yeah.
yo, the sea, just wild.
I love when I was looking up some stuff for this week's episode, I found like a GameFAQs thing, and I forget where it was, but it was just like, what's the first part of it? It's like the wind has stopped, the sea is wild. So it's like, all right, well, something's not adding up here. It can't be both of those things.
Both of those things. Yeah. The earth begins to rot. The people wait. Their only hope, a prophecy. Which, like you said earlier, is that the Every FNFF podcast is back, baby. When the world is in darkness, 4 warriors will come. After a long journey, 4 young warriors arrive, each holding an orb. And I would like to say that in the NES version, they don't talk about the crystal; they talk about the orb.
Yeah. I think I noticed that as well, because I think it's pretty much the exact same monologue. The only difference is I think they say crystal in my version. Well, excuse me. I thought that the volume was down on that.
They did some rewriting for the Game Boy Advance one, which I can just blast through, which is the world lies shrouded in darkness, the winds die, the seas rage. Sorry. Earth decays.
Well, like rage can be like, yo, we're going out tonight, we're gonna fucking rage.
But the people believe in a prophecy, patiently awaiting its fulfillment. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. After a long journey, 4 young travelers did last appear, and in the hand of each was clutched a crystal.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
A Crystal Chronicle.
Also, which is really nice, is over this, it kind of does a really dramatic kind of pan over some areas of the map.
Oh, okay.
Kind of showing you, like, just kind of
showing you that wild sea.
Pretty much. It's pretty nice.
The sea wilding out.
And then, y'all, the
the
most important part of Final Fantasy 1 happens, and I'm going to turn my phone away from you all so you don't see what's on my screen right now.
Oh, hell yeah. I think I know what
We have to create a party.
we create a party.
All right. I think we should probably. Well, we can't go take a live stream before we do. We can't do that anymore. That was FF7. Our seas are gonna have to get wild. We're gonna go take a wild sea and come back.
I feel like when the prophecy will reveal itself to us.
Yeah,
what we
in
need
time,
to say
in
about
time.
what pissing is.
Yeah.
So
But
yes,
for now, we're gonna go piss.
Piss is short enough of a word to be the name of a character.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. We'll see you after the break. All right, so we ready?
I'm ready.
it's party time.
Oh, it's party time, baby.
It's party time.
Party time,
Party,
excellent.
party. I want to have a party. This is Andrew.
Gonna
WK.
have a party tonight. Yeah.
Did you guys know that I was in an Andrew WK music video?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Wait. You're
Also, what?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I knew you were in a TV show or a movie or something.
Yeah, I was in Orange is the New Black.
That's right.
Yeah. But
Were you the guy with the mustache?
in Orange is the New Black, no, I actually didn't have a mustache
Oh.
because I was Amish. So I had to shave my mustache.
Oh shit.
The guy doing hair and makeup actually like like because I just shaved like where they told me to, and like
Yeah.
left like these little like bits here, so it was kind of like spiky like part of a
Your little
goatee,
mutts.
which is not like the Amish like style beard.
Oh,
and
okay.
the hair and makeup guy was like, yeah, shouldn't this be like trimmed too? And he was like, yeah. He's like, you know what? I kind of like that though. You're kind of like a goth Amish. And I was like, you don't understand how happy you just made me that you fucking called me that.
That's so good.
Yeah. But
Well-
friend, you know Brodan, right?
I know of Brodan.
Okay, because Brodan was also in that Andrew WK music video before I had ever met him. So we're both credited as Andrew WK's friends, and we were at the same like like shoot for
Fuck
the
y'all.
music video and stuff. Like,
That's awesome.
so fucking weird.
All right,
So we're making a party.
we're making a party.
So is Amish one of the classes?
Well, so the Amish is the healer, and the Goth Amish is the the one that does the black magic. Yeah.
Amish is the new black.
So let's go down. There are 6 different classes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh yeah.
I said there was 7 before the break because I'm a moron. Fighters, what's up?
Hell yeah.
If you are playing this game for the first time, would highly recommend that you bring one. Honestly, if you just want to get through the game quickly, bring 2. Just eat 2 slots with fighters because that's the night. That's the main.
That's I feel like from my research that's the pro tip is to have 2 fighters.
yeah.
If you're playing the Game Boy Advance version, they're called Warriors. I
Yeah.
think.
Same
Oh,
same with
interesting.
mine, yeah. So
Okay.
there might be some differences with that, probably not too many, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess on mine they're fighters. Yeah, but it's same idea. So their thing, I mean, if it's not, it's relatively obvious, but they're going to be like decent damage dealer, but mostly tank. Like they have a lot of defense and a lot of HP.
Yeah.
Which I should go ahead and take a quick diversion to talk a little bit more about the battle system. In the battle system, the position of your characters from top to bottom of the screen matters. Your first position character is going to be targeted 50% of the time.
That makes so much fucking sense.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask about that.
Yeah,
We'll get to that later, but
The second one, 25% of the time, and the last 2 are targeted 12.5% of the time.
oh.
So one of the
fuck.
reasons to have a fighter in your party, because they soak up a lot of damage, is to take that first position, to take that first slot up.
Yeah.
Because that way most of the damage that comes toward you isn't going to do that much. And the difference can be pretty wild. Like an attack that can do just about 100 damage to a different character will do 1 damage to
Yeah.
your fighter or warrior. So like there's a large difference there. They also have pretty good agility, and agility is going to determine whether you get back attacked in this game or not, which happens all the time, because I think in the NES it doesn't work, if I remember correctly. Like agility is not implemented correctly, but they did fix it on subsequent release.
Okay, because I was going to say that didn't happen to me a lot, and I got into a lot of battles.
Yeah, it happened to me a lot.
I got a couple preemptives, actually.
But yeah, that's that. So warrior, pretty dope.
Sweet.
Thief?
Yeah.
Should I go through thief, or do you want to say thief? Or
Oh, yeah.
I read a whole big thing about it.
Take it away, because I
Alrighty.
did not.
So speaking of agility, thief's big thing is agility.
Yeah.
Which if it's in the NES, that kind of renders him moot because it just doesn't have it.
Oh, yeah.
I should also, I really don't want to get into the class changes, but eventually your classes do level up. So I'll say right now, eventually your warrior will be able to use white magic.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's another thing about it. A low level white magic.
But white magic nonetheless. And,
Exactly.
and did we talk about the differentiation between white magic and black magic? Because they get into it a little bit here with like a tutorial thing, but basically white magic is like cure spells, like defensive spells, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And black magic is like attack magic.
It would be, I guess they're all green materia. I was going to say, yeah.
Think of it as green materia.
Yeah. But yeah, so thief, their big thing is agility. They did have some changes in between versions, where in the later versions, to kind of match what the class became later in Final Fantasy games, they're able to equip more weapons than the fighter is. They can attack a lot more. So during the battle, like you don't just do one attack at a time. You might hit the enemy like 8 times in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's dependent a lot on different factors. And the thief can hit a lot in a row. I think they have the largest chance to hit a lot. So a well-equipped thief can actually do about as much damage as the fighter can, the warrior. So they're a really good damage dealer as well. Not as much defense. So if you do have a fighter and a thief, you should put your thief in second position.
Yeah.
So.
Real quick, I will go through some notes that I have on on the classes because when you're selecting them,
Yeah.
like you just get a screen that says like choose your party, and you can change if it which class you have, and also you can change the name. But they have little like blurbs about like what the character is.
do they?
Yeah.
All right.
So for Thief, it's agile rogue with nimble fingers and precise attacks. I like to think of myself as
I was gonna say that's what's on the thief's Tinder bio, like nimble fingers and precise attacks.
That sounds like just a shitty Twitter troll.
yeah. Oh my god, I should just make that my Twitter bio.
I love that. I love that so much. Nimble fingers and precise attacks.
The fighter / warrior doesn't really have a very good one. It's just a powerful fighter and weapons expert.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
then, so I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing about the fighter too is its best equipment. There's only one set of in the game, so if you do roll with two, the other one, your second one's not going to be as well equipped.
Yeah.
But it still has good weapons.
Yeah, and that also like reminds me that there are certain weapons that certain classes can like wield and other classes can't.
Right.
So when you're
right.
like buying equipment or whatever, it's like you'll see it'll give you an indicator of whether.
The NES sure fucking doesn't.
Well, there you go. Well, there you have it.
You just have to buy it and find out.
There's a really cute animation of just like the little like. Sprites.
Do they do the fist pump?
They just like
I
are
love
like
that.
cheering a little
Yeah.
bit if they can use it. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I really like that animation.
Yeah.
They reuse that in a lot of different games. And
It's really good. It's a
really
nice,
good.
again, another quality of life upgrade.
So in my game, they're called black belts, but I think they're monks.
Yes.
In other games.
Yeah.
Okay. So the black belt's a weird class, and I chose one this time because I was like, that's an interesting group.
Yeah.
So the black belt gains stats, like it gets a stat boost if you completely take all their equipment off. So if you just roll no armor, no weapons, they get stat boosts that way. So the black belt is the highest damage dealer in the game at a high level if you take everything off them. Like if they're just
Yeah.
walking around naked, then they can one hit KO the final boss.
That fucking
They
rules.
just-
Holy shit.
Boom! And like getting them alive to the final boss is a challenge at that point.
Yeah.
But you can just roll up and be like, and send this naked black belt in there.
That's
Just
literally just like the Dark Souls, like
I was going to say it's like every single Carl stream.
where Carl just takes his clothes off on stream and then plays Dark Souls.
and then gets banned from Twitch.
yeah. TOS.
Yeah, so the little like write up about the monk in the PlayStation version, it says warrior monk strong in both body and mind. And whomst amongst us is not. But yeah, and then it's fights best unarmed.
Okay. Dang it, I did this again. Gosh bless. One last thing about the thief.
Gosh blessed.
Yeah, one last thing about the thief.
Sure.
They can use low-level black magic when they advance their job.
Hell yeah.
The reason I wanted to bring that up now is since they all have a little bit of a change when they advance their job to the next level, the black belt has no change. It is literally the same. There are no stat improvements at all. As a matter of fact, the stronger it gets, the less defense it gets as the game goes on. It becomes weaker.
Oh, why change a good thing, you know?
I guess so. So, what a weird fucking class. But because I'm playing on an emulator and I have fast forward, I was like, well, I'm just going to grind all the way to fucking level 50 at the end game and just one hit KO the final boss because I really want to see that.
Yeah.
So,
That
I
seems
intend on
really
being
fun.
very strong much later into this season.
That sounds like a really fun challenge, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Then there's also the red mage.
Love the red mage.
Hell yeah.
Let me just say, starting out with the red mage, red mages appear in multiple Final Fantasy games throughout the series. Always the most impeccably dressed.
Yeah.
The style on the red mage.
If you like fedoras.
It's not a fedora. Well, I guess actually in the NES one, it kind of does look like
They
a
look a
fedora.
little bit more like a pimp.
I was
They
thinking
do
they
look
have like
like
a
a
big
pimp.
pimp hat. Yeah.
Very,
The feather.
It's got the
very,
big white feather at it. Like, yeah.
very Cosmo Kramer wearing the Joseph's Amazing Technicolor Dream coat.
I love it. They always
The
have like
hat just blows down the street and he picks it up.
they always have like a big like red cape with like white and red diamond trimming on it.
Yeah.
It looks like they're holding a cane sometimes too.
I know,
I think
I
he's
know.
just holding its cape
Like,
open.
sometimes it's like a cane or a rapier. Or it's
Yeah.
so fucking cool. I love this class so much.
Definitely the most pimp-like by the write-up on him, which is
Ooh.
dabbles in both white and black magic. He's a dabbler.
I was gonna say I love a good dabbler.
Also a decent fighter.
Yo, so that's the big thing, especially at the beginning of the game. The red mage can equip a lot of the weapons and armor that the fighter can, which for a mage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
so they're kind of the closest to like a paladin type, I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of fighting, but also do magic.
Yeah. And what I do like about the red mage in this game is that they are barred from using the strongest white and black magics in the game. Like they can't use like nuke or I think life 2 maybe they can't use.
Yeah.
Or holy, they can't use holy. But they can use like everything below that almost. Some things are blocked off for them. But they're so good and they're so versatile. And like their counterparts, the mages, die really fast.
Yeah.
A lot of them do anyway.
Yeah.
And so like you can have somebody who can cast most of the magic, who can do decent output on damage even when they don't have any magic to cast. That's a great class.
Yeah, that's a really good class.
That's a really good class right there.
I'm kind of bummed I didn't pick one.
You could pick 2 fighters and 2 red mages and just steamroll. That's I want to see one.
I think that's the speedrun strat. I'm
Really?
pretty sure. I think that's
I
the
picked
build
2
that you-
fighters, a red and a white, when I played
Nice.
last year and beat the game. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
it's still dope.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, red mage. And when they level up, or when they job advance, I guess, they get access to more spells than they had previously and just get stat boosts over in general. So
Cool.
They're pretty cool.
Cool. Then we have one of my favorites.
You know what? God, I just said red mage is the best designed, and I immediately take it back.
It's tough though with
red
all the
mage
mages.
is the second best designed.
All the mages are really
you're
good
right.
though.
God, they're
like-
all so iconic.
So I really like the white mage just because I feel like the most iconic one of like what a Final Fantasy mage looks like is the black mage.
Yes.
And mostly because of Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. And you don't really see the white mage as much,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
So like when I started kind of seeing the white mage around, like I love the style of the white
Yeah.
mage.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the white mage.
Let's talk about white mage. Let's do it.
Yeah, so the little blurb on the PlayStation version says, Mystic specializing in white magic to heal and protect others.
Love it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it is. You're right. It's very good look. It's
Looking
like
out for your homies.
Yeah. It's a white robe, red triangle trim or whatever.
All
on
the
it.
way down, yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
Super cool. Yeah.
They kind of reminded me of some bird-like fashion from like the Zelda games.
Yeah,
I
I
see
can
that.
definitely
Yeah,
see that. Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a
Kinda-
good look.
They got the hood up so they look kind of like Moon Knight, if you're familiar with Marvel comics.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Where's my money?
Fucking vampire, you fucking loser.
Moon Knight kicks ass.
So yeah, white knight, white mage, pretty cool. One thing I do like about the white mage in this game is early on, pretty weak, doesn't have a lot of HP, gets a lot by the end of the game, and
Yeah.
so like usually I would think of the healer as like the weakest one, but is not in this game. Like has more HP than some of the damage dealers.
Yeah.
Like decently built.
Hell yeah.
Still wouldn't put them in the top of the party or anything like that because they don't have a lot of like choice for equipment. But
I'm glad you said that because while we're on the topic of like aesthetic and all of that, you can rearrange your party, which we'll get to more later
Yeah.
on. But you can rearrange your party, and whoever's at the top of your party is the one that you get to control. And
yeah,
walk
I
around with.
I know.
And
I wanted to so bad.
I did because I didn't realize that it took more damage. And does it get targeted more of the time as well?
It's not more damage; it's more target. Yeah.
Okay, so it's more targeted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I misheard you, but yeah, my white mage was getting fucking decimated because low defense and
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
constantly getting hit. And I'm like, why the fuck does it keep getting hit? And I was like, it
Yep,
might
yep.
have something to do with the order. And
Yep,
because then I was
yep.
looking at like the HP because I was kind of just going through and not paying too much attention by turn.
Yeah.
And just kind of focusing on like the battle as a whole. And then I would like look and the 2 in the bottom slots had like full HP. And I'm like,
Yep.
what the fuck?
Yep,
So that
yep.
makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So don't do things just for aesthetic. Because
Yeah. Well, it's because like I wanted to do. I usually do that in Final Fantasy games. I put like a character I like the best at the top so that they can be the one on the screen running around.
Yeah, the best part of 7 is when you get to control Tifa and Sid.
Yeah, right. And so I wanted to do the same thing, but I knew. I was like, I can't with the mages.
That's good to
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah.
very good to know.
Black mage.
Black Mage.
What an iconic look.
Yeah, real good.
What a style.
Yeah.
Blue robes, face hidden behind
Shrouded
the robe.
face, yeah.
Shrouded, big old wizard's cap.
Big Jawa energy.
Big Jawa energy.
Big Hat Logan energy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
What do you want from me? They're a black mage. They cast
Yeah.
black magic.
Yeah, they fucking rule. They're cute. They're cool. They're
Lowest
powerful.
HP in defense, though.
Yeah.
They can get their shit wrecked.
Yeah.
Real quick. But what is good? So, black mage, in my opinion, as a party member in FF1 is a bit of a trade-off. So you're trading off your safety because they can go down in one hit.
Yeah.
Pretty much from every boss in the game. So like you're always playing this game of like, I hope they don't get hit. But what you're getting in return is just massive damage output.
Yeah.
I mean, just rolling bosses.
Yeah, like a glass cannon.
Yeah, glass cannon, exactly. And there's going to be a part in the game that we get to that's just before the job change where the game starts getting a little smart and it goes, okay, well, you know how to play the game now. We're going to start introducing a lot of like elemental damage and absorbing stats and things like that.
Yeah.
And having good black magic there will get you through that point of the game. And like if you don't have a black mage, it's the hardest part of the game.
Yeah.
If you do have one, it's the easiest part of the game. So I didn't pick one this time.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to have that hard part in the middle, but
Sure.
that's fine. Because I don't want to have that glass cannon toward the end just getting mauled every turn.
Yeah.
But they can learn the spell nuke, which will wreck some bosses.
Hell yeah.
Which is flare, by the way.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah,
the
that
spell
makes sense.
flare in the other games
Yeah.
is nuke in this one. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to use it.
Yep.
But yeah, the little blurb is deals great damage to foes with black magic, physically weak. So pretty much
Yeah.
everything you
Yep.
said, but just, not as cool.
All right.
Take that, devs of the PlayStation.
So that's all 6 different party members.
Oh yeah.
It is time for what we have been waiting for like 4 months.
Yep.
We've been talking about this. We've been tweeting about it. We've been discussing it amongst ourselves. Time to discuss who we put in the parties and what their names are.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is how I suggest that we do it. We don't have to do it this way. I think we should rock, paper, scissors for who goes first.
Okay.
And we do best out of 2, whoever or you know what I mean.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Or if one person wins the first one, they can go first. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, and then shoot?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the only way.
All right. Let's do it.
Are we doing this a 3-way?
All 3
Yeah.
of us. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Alex,
Okay,
you're
me and Curtis
good
went
old
with
rock.
the.
Nothing beats
I was
that.
gonna say we went with the Bart Simpson strategy.
All right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, he
go
knew.
first,
He
I
knew
know.
it was Bart.
We're doing the exact
Poor-
order I
so
thought it was
now-
gonna
Poor
happen.
simple Carl always chooses rock.
You already beat me the first time. Oh. wait.
No, yeah. It's
All right.
rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, all right. So it's going to
Scissors
be
that time.
Carl, Alex. Here we go.
Figures.
Just the way of the world.
I might have a little something up my sleeve. Go ahead.
Okay. My party this season will be
You want to tell us classes first and then names?
Classes
Yep.
first, yeah.
Fighter,
Hell yeah.
black belt,
Hell yeah.
red mage, white mage.
Right on.
So the fighter, red mage, white mage, solid team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a chance on the black belt just to do ridiculous damage toward the end game because
Sure.
I just think that will be really funny to see when I get there.
It's-
And it maybe also ruin my experience of the game when we're describing it and y'all like, that boss takes a lot of hits. And I'll be like, it took 1.
I'm wondering if that was the motivation behind the Tifa Power Soul sort of thing.
Oh, I wonder.
Because I mean, when you think about it, that kind of tracks. Like,
I
was basically
the weaker you
using
are, the stronger you are.
I was using that same like class in all of Final Fantasy VII,
yeah.
and just decimating
That makes
bosses.
sense.
Holy shit! Yeah.
So, character names.
All right.
So we have a limit of 4 characters per name.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I didn't spell these.
You took some liberties.
I took some liberties in the spelling.
Sure.
But in order, fighter, black mage, red mage, white mage.
Mm-hmm.
My characters are named Out, Back, Steak, House.
That is so fucking good. Okay.
Carl.
Okay. So I just rolled with the default one that they give you.
4 fighters. No,
4 fighters, all monks. No, I did
Fighting
warrior.
four naked dudes.
I did warrior, thief, white mage, black mage.
I love
So
that.
no love to the red mage. So I apologize.
Well, end game, you're gonna be casting holy and nuke, and it's gonna be a fucking
Yeah.
damage fest. That's
hell
gonna be
yeah,
great.
I love a good old fashioned damage face. Okay, so My party's name is Time for the Urn.
Yeah!
Yes.
And when Alex is done, I will give you. I'll give you a fun little.
It's Super
extra
Tuesday
about that.
while we're recording this, by the way, so this
Oh,
could
God.
be very, very applicable. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh boy.
All right, Alex, what do you got?
So I went with 2 warriors, white mage, black mage.
That's a good team.
Because I just
Nice.
wanted some OP, just easy breezing.
Oh yeah.
And in the Game Boy Advance version, I get 6 characters to
Hell
pick
yeah.
from, so I have
Yeah.
a little bit more flexibility. So I went with so the 2 warriors named Archie and Jughead. The white mage is named Betty.
Oh, not Sabrina.
No,
I get-
and the red mage is named Hot Dog.
All right, that's really good.
That's a good one. That's a good set right there.
So now I need to pull up the card that's in my sleeve. I game overed on that file. So, not intentionally. I was literally just trying to be like, I'm not going to look anything up. I'm just
I guess
gonna
it
go
was
through.
time for the urn.
It was literally
you.
time for the urn for that party. That party is dead. The world is lost or whatever. The seas are still raging or calm or however
Wild.
the fuck. Yeah, whatever.
Well, it wasn't those 4 heroes.
So, those are the ones of legend. They started the timeline where Ganon, takes over,
Yeah.
and then Wind Waker happens.
Orb. Sorry.
Because the wind died, Wind Waker. Yeah, so I had to start a new game. And we'll talk about a little bit more about like the specifics of that next episode. But I had to make a new team. So for my new team, same lineup, and this time in all lowercase instead of all caps. And I made it Nobu, O, Weima, and then Sue.
Yay!
I was like, it doesn't feel right to have lost time for the urn.
yeah.
I was like, what can I do?
good.
And I was like, well, this one, I don't want to let
No
this
boo.
one.
No, yeah.
I don't want to
yeah.
let this one die.
I can honor that. I think that's good. That's a good team right there.
I also,
wonderful.
I could have used 6 characters, but I kind of wanted to try and.
I got you.
Much like we learn in playing old Nintendo games, there's kind of a nice charm in the limitations of things. Like
Yeah, right.
agility, like it's an idea built in, but we didn't implement it correctly.
Oh, I'd also like to say that intelligence doesn't work in the NES version as well. So, why, or maybe it's wisdom. It's whatever is causing the increase in magic damage throughout the course of the game does not work. So, however powerful the spell is how powerful it is,
Oh my god.
which is still real strong.
Nice.
So, I mean, for the
Yeah.
NES, it kind of works out still because those spells do a lot of damage anyway.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So our warriors of light are assembled.
we're ready to go. We're ready to
I think
fucking
we're ready
do
to,
this.
I think we're ready to go.
All right. And I think that's going to be all for this episode. We're actually going to start playing next episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Who did our theme music this week, Alex?
We'll figure it out.
Me.
Maybe me.
Hell yeah.
I did a thing, but I'm not sure if I'm putting that in yet.
Yeah.
We're just winging it this season.
Yeah.
We're also
Yeah.
doing short episodes, as you've probably noticed by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's a shorter game, and also it's a lot to edit. 2 hours of
Yeah.
and listen to 2 hours a week, y'all.
we
just-
almost killed Alex.
Just
last
wait till
season.
we get back to the next Final Fantasy. We'll get back, whether he likes
yeah.
it or not. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
Yeah, split the difference.
Oh, I should point out too the Final Fantasy like little walkthrough part that I was watching just to kind of refresh my memory. I'm gonna read off his names and his characters as well. So there was a warrior, a red mage, a white mage, and a black mage.
Oh, a mage heavy party.
And he named his characters. The warrior's named Legend. Okay. Red mage, and this is a clever one, is named Red. The white mage, and I would like to know more about this, and we can get more into this next week as well. But the white mage's name is Sarah with an H, which, much like my girlfriend's name, I thought that was pretty nice.
That's a
Yeah.
recurring character.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, that's a little whatever. And then the black mage is Vivi, but weirdly everything is spelled lowercase except the I's. So
The
it's
I's
Vivi, obvious reference to Vivi from Final Fantasy IX.
Oh,
but,
what? Nice.
But yeah, for some reason,
Are you sure it's not 6'6"? in Roman numerals?
Yeah, because it's a lowercase v, capital I, lowercase v, capital I. So it looks like Vilville. Like, Vilville. So I don't know. So shout outs to Legendary Gamers TV on YouTube. There are 4 likes on this video and 1 dislike. I'm going to go ahead, pop a nice little like on there.
Oh, yeah.
They better return the favor by rating us 5 stars.
Thanks for supporting the show, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else we want to talk about before we head into the breach or whatever?
Just that I appreciate everybody sticking with us over the break.
Yeah.
And
hopefully the shorter episodes aren't too big of a bummer for people.
yeah, no, I mean, it'll be
I know we've
much
had a
less
lot-
of a bummer for Alex.
True. I know a lot of people were...
More time for gags, more stamina for editing, which means I can spend more time polishing it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And more time goofing around with us.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Nice. But yeah, we'll see you next week. I guess that we have housekeeping now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably will be featuring music by Nuobo Wamatsu throughout this episode. We were deciding what we want for the rest music, but we could be changing every episode. It'd be kind of cool with
Yeah.
the 3 different versions
Yeah.
we got.
We got
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
true.
options.
Very nice. Lots of selections.
Yeah.
Leave us a review on iTunes. What were you about to say, Carl?
I was going to say we could fuck around and just throw some Undertale music in there. Who knows?
Undertale 2. Yeah.
Deltarune.
We are every FNFF on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch.
Our Twitter is great, by the way. I don't want to like toot our own horn, but follow us on Twitter. It's great.
It's fun on there. I feel like that's where a lot of our interactions come with.
I think so.
Come from too. So
Yeah.
that's always fun. Thanks everyone who's been tweeting at us in our drought of
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
It's been nice keeping up with it.
And we have a new feature of this podcast, which
Do we know about this yet?
I made a hotline for us. If you, the listener at home, would like to potentially be on an episode during the break, you can leave us a little voicemail. Maybe we'll play something if you have like any weird observations, weird memories, or just any goofs and gaffes you want to throw our way.
Yeah.
we
Hell yeah.
might drop you in. You can call us at 530 materia.
Hell yeah.
That's really good. Hell yeah.
You can text us too, but we don't do that.
I'm
is
really
audio
bad
medium.
at.
This is an audio medium, so
I'm really bad at replying to texts.
Like, I guess we could always, if it was truly somebody who did not want to leave a voicemail, we could read off a text, but that's less fun.
oh yeah.
True.
So leave a voicemail.
Or you can also email us like a voice memo
Yeah.
if you prefer to, like,
Yeah.
because I know I freeze up on voicemail all the time.
Sure.
Like,
Oh yeah.
so if you want to record something, just mail us at everyfnff@gmail.com.
Or
Oh, yeah?
you can do one of those weird voice to text thing or text to voice
Yeah,
things. And just,
yeah, right.
You really know how to turn me on.
Just pretend like you're Stephen Hawking. May he rest.
I'm sorry. Nothing.
Again, that's 530 materia.
530 materia. That's so good.
530 materia.
Oh hell yeah, we gotta write a jingle for that.
But,
All right.
See you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.